Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Adriana, and if you're here again, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you so much, and if you're new here, feel free to look over through all my videos and subscribe and leave me a comment saying that you're new here. I hope you're having an amazing day. We're here to discuss nutrition and being in a calorie deficit today, so let's go. I asked you on Instagram, what are the questions that you have about nutrition? Because your girl is down a few pounds, a few inches, and you guys have noticed, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you. A lot of you guys have asked me, what is it that I'm doing differently that I wasn't doing before? And the answer is a calorie deficit. It's my first official calorie deficit in a while. I did one back in January 2023, but I only did it for 6 weeks. And it was so drastic and it was so harsh, and I did stick with it. But I didn't see the results I'm seeing right now, and I do believe I know why. One of the reasons why calorie deficits seem so difficult, it's because the protein seems like it has to be so high, right? I've been on that side of the internet where they tell you that you have to eat your body weight in grams of protein. It's really hard to do. I'm not gonna lie. I was trying to feed myself 180 grams of protein a day. That was not happening, and it wasn't going well, because what it meant is I had to allocate most of my calories to go to protein and very low for carbs and fats. So my meals were very protein focused and not very, this is what I want to have. I didn't have a lot of wiggle room, but I have been doing this for 4 months now. So 4 months in a deficit. I'm really happy to report that I am seeing some progress. I am seeing the results that I want to see, and what I have learned throughout the process. What a calorie deficit is you're eating less calories than you're burning. To lose weight, not necessarily body fat, but the purpose of a calorie deficit is to lose weight. However, my goals when I approached Eric with a calorie deficit was, I want to, yes, lose weight, but I want the definition in my body to show. I've been working really hard on building my muscles, so I don't want to see the scale drop if it means my muscles will look different. I want to see that body fat drop, but I want to keep those muscles. I want to see the definition. So far, I think we're doing really good. It's nothing crazy, and we're still seeing results. Slow and steady wins the race. So I'm really happy with how we're going so far, and we're just getting started. If you're somebody who's a fitness beginner and you're just starting out your fitness journey, I wouldn't really recommend for you to go straight into a calorie deficit. And what I did is I went into maintenance for a really long time. So I focused on healing my relationship with food. I focused on learning about food. Focus on learning what foods I couldn't live without, what were my non-negotiables, so, you know, what had to stay in my diet consistently. And I also took some time to, you know, find that connection with food again, and learning that food is fuel, and, you know, like taking the time to really heal that relationship. And I feel like I finally feel confident again to track my calories. I finally feel confident to measure up my food. And that takes some time. And if you're not there yet, then I completely understand. And you shouldn't jump right into that, because it can be pretty hard. I highly suggest for you to take your time to heal that relationship first, rather than just going straight into weighing out your food and using a food scale and a food tracking app. If you are somebody who doesn't know where to start and how many calories to eat, how much protein, how many carbs, how many fats, in the description you will find a link to the calculator that I use to calculate how many calories, how much protein, and everything I should have. So again, don't use my numbers. Go look for your own. I'm going to talk from my experience. So my calories at the moment are 1,598 calories. I am in a deficit of about 500 calories. Protein intake is 120 grams, carbs is 160 grams, and fats is 53 grams of fats. So what is the difference from now versus the calorie deficit that I did on my own with no guidance back in January 2023? The difference is, back in January, I was doing a deficit of about 1,500 calories, so very similar to where I'm at. But I was trying to get 180 grams of protein a day, because everybody tells you 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. I was trying to get 180 grams of protein a day, and that left a very little calories allocated for carbs and fats. 180 grams of protein times 4, we're looking at 720 calories directly came from protein. So that meant that if I was doing a 1500 calorie deficit, I only had 780 that were available to come from fats and carbs. That is very low. That's very low. Okay, that is not fun, and I was miserable because of that. And I have learned a lot since then. But the main thing is that I don't have to go crazy and eat that much protein. When I used Eric's calculator to calculate how many calories I should have, and it said only 120 grams of protein, I reached out to Eric and I was like, is this correct? Yeah, are you good? Is this true? And he was like, yeah, it's going to make it super attainable. You're still going to be able to have carbs. You're still going to have a place for fats. And that way, you know, you can still have the foods that you want and accommodate for them. And that made so much more sense, y'all. And I think that that is why it's important to use a calculator that you trust. I think that that's the reason why I've been able to stick with my calorie deficit for 4 months now. Has it been hard for you to stay in a calorie deficit for this long? And the answer is yes. I've had my days where it's really hard, but for the most part, it's been very attainable. My goal of consistency is 80% consistency. I've had months where it's been 60% consistency and months where it's been 80. Continuously get better time after time and day after day so that I can be better each time. So it has been a little bit challenging at times, especially on the days where I'm having a bad day and you know, like I just want a burger, I just want pizza. But I have discovered that the best way to do this is I found the foods that were non-negotiables for me and I keep those ingredients around. So one of those, pizza. I know I keep flatbreads, cheese, ham, and my pizza sauce around at all times. And I can make like a pizza on the air fryer in like 10 minutes. And that way, if I'm ever craving something like that, I know that I can have that and that will satisfy that craving. Although at times I have had pizza because that's what I wanted. So is it more important to track calories or to track macros? Macros is protein, carbs, and fats, right? Calories, it's just like tracking how many calories something has. So here's why, to me, it's more important to track macros than to track calories. I think that if you focus on hitting protein, carbs, fats individually as grams of protein, you'll have a better time than just saying, because you could sit here and say like, oh, well, this donut fits in my calories, so I'm just gonna have 3 donuts in a day, and that amounts to 1600 calories, right? You could technically do that. But you're not getting any nutrients from it. So that is why it's important to look at the nutritional value. And that was another question. How do you know what you are supposed to eat and how do you plan for that? You use a calorie tracking app. I have 2 options for you. I've used MyFitnessPal for decades at this point. I have been loyal to MyFitnessPal for decades. I decided to give something else a try and I started using Lose It. I actually really like it so far. And the way that you do it is that you look, for instance, and this is just an example. Let's say that we're making a yogurt bowl and we're going to use 1 cup of Oikos 000 yogurt. How many calories that has? And it has 90 calories and it has 7 grams of carbs, no fats, and it has 15 grams of protein. Go ahead and you scan that barcode and you put it on your app. In this case, we're going to add some raspberries. We're going to have 50 grams of raspberries, 6 grams of carbs, 0.3 grams of fats. It only has 0.6 grams of protein. So protein is very minimal, fats are very minimal, but they do have 6 grams of carbs. We're gonna add some protein granola. I like the Nature's Own protein granola. It tastes delicious. It's like candy. I freaking love it. And for this, let's say that we're gonna have 20 grams because 1 serving has a lot of calories. You can have a different amount than the serving. See that it has 4 grams of protein It has 12 grams of carbs and it has 2 grams of fats. Learn how to read nutrition labels so that when you're shopping, look for foods that have lower calories for more protein, or that they have a balanced amount of protein, carbs, and fats. I just want to get into a healthier lifestyle. Reading nutrition labels is going to be the way to go. The way that I could do it is just have less of that. One tip I have if you are new to tracking is plan your meals the day before. The questions that I got says, how do you maintain motivation with meal prepping if you do meal prep? I actually don't meal prep. Set myself up for success is keeping the same ingredients around all of the time. I buy pretty much the same things all of the time, or a variation of those. I buy chicken that's already made, either at Costco, the little individual packs, or we buy the bags that are already made from Walmart. Do the same with steak. We keep frozen shrimp around. We keep packs of tuna. You can also buy canned chicken. You know, like these are the things that I kind of keep around. Buy rotisserie chickens and shred it and make meals with that. So there are ways that we go about it, but you can also boil your chicken or cook your chicken on the slow cooker and keep it for 2-3 days and use that to make a couple of meals. Meal prepping doesn't necessarily mean you have to prep the bowls. You can prep ingredients, and that way it can be easier for you to make food. But those are some of the foods that have made my calorie deficit easier to achieve. I buy minute rice cups, you know, the little rice cups you just throw in a microwave for 1 minute, ready to eat. Frozen vegetables, so I don't have to chop anything. I buy sauces that are like low calorie, so I can throw them in there. And, you know, frozen bread. I keep bread around. People are like, oh, there are other sources of carbs. I'm aware. Bread just, it's easier, you know, it doesn't expire as quickly. We buy frozen hash browns. That's my favorite way of consuming potatoes. Yogurt, cereal. Milk, I make sure I never run out of is unsweetened almond milk. I will take that with my protein shake every day. Those are the things that I look forward to having every single week in my house. So that is how it's gotten easier as somebody who does a meal prep. And if you are interested in seeing quick, easy meals, full days of eating, they're all on my Instagram and my TikTok, so go check it out. How do you get over having the same or similar foods daily? I make a variation of it every time. It tastes a little bit different. I love having my bowls in the morning, hash browns, egg whites, ham, cheese, and I can have that every single day. I love that meal so much. Sometimes I get a little bit bored, so I'll swap the ham for hot dogs, swap the egg whites for eggs and have the yolk. Sometimes I'll add like a little jelly, like, you know, make it a little bit sweeter, or I'll add a pancake and, you know, like just a variation of it. But I do get bored of food sometimes, and I move on. How do you make high protein meals? One of the ways that I look at this is my meals are planned around protein. So let's talk about breakfast. Breakfast is usually surrounding egg whites. Egg whites, because they're lower in calories, they're higher in protein. So it's egg whites or eggs. It's ham. I like ham a lot. I like putting it in my eggs. So yeah, you know, like it's either egg whites and ham or eggs and ham. That's usually like what everything is surrounding. So it'll be either a sandwich with egg whites and ham, or it'll be hash browns with egg whites and ham. And then eggs sometimes. Like it's surrounding the protein. We're talking lunch, we're talking chicken, shrimp, steak, tuna. Making snacks, it'll be a protein shake with a scoop of protein, or a protein bar. Eric is the one that gave me the amount of calories. That's where I got it from. And they do give you a meal plan with ideas, and you can spice it up with how you want to eat. But it is a great way to kind of see like, oh, I could have this, I could have that. Benefits of the Clubhouse, and especially they do have a bank of recipes that are quick and easy. And I freaking love that. I've gotten some ideas from there too. In conjunction with you using a tracking app like MyFitnessPal or Lose It, and learning how to read food labels, one of the most important things that you can do for yourself is get yourself a food scale. And this is not so you can start weighing every single gram of food that you eat, but it is for you to get familiar with serving sizes. You know, a handful of cheese is a serving size. I promise you it's not. And those things tend to make a difference, because you may think and you're eyeballing it and you're seeing, yeah, you know, I'm having this much of protein granola, right? Like, it's not that much. Getting yourself a food scale can be so useful for you to learn and pair it with findings on nutrition labels. If you see that a nutrition label says 28 grams, you measure 28 grams, you can see physically, oh, this is what that serving looks like. And then as time goes by, you start getting familiar. I can pretty much eyeball how many egg whites to have. I can pretty much eyeball, you know, how much cheese to have, how much ham to have, because you learn that as time goes by, the more that you do it. You don't have to do this forever. This is not a permanent thing. The goal is not to track forever. The goal is to get to a point where we're doing this, because I have gotten comments saying, oh, that could never be me. I would never track. I would never weigh my food. And I understand, because I used to be that girl. I used to say that. But again, it comes from a place of, I don't feel comfortable doing that right now, and that is totally fine. But people progress and people change, so stay open to the possibility of change. And if you at some point feel like, man, I've been putting in the work, but this is not working, and you're not weighing your food and you're not tracking your food, this is something that you could consider, at least getting a food scale and seeing what serving sizes look like. And drop any nutrition questions that you have down below. I'll type them out for you and I'll answer them for you to the best of my ability. And again, don't forget to check out the calculator down below. If you enjoyed this video, leave me a like, leave me a comment, letting me know what questions you have, what tips have helped you the most, or share a tip with somebody that might have changed your life when it came to nutrition. And I absolutely love you, and I will see you next time. Thank you for being here. Okay, bye.